International Women's Day is commemorated globally to celebrate the achievements of women in all spheres and to rally for global action for the cause of women. To mark this year's theme, which is Balance for Better, the Women, Peace and Security Institute of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, KAIPTC, the Gender and Communication Unit of GIZ Ghana, the GIZ Support to KAIPTC, and the WIPNET program of the West African Network for Peace Building, WANEP, are partnering to hold a week-long sensitization campaign on gender-based violence and sexual harassment. We know we have the International Women's Day coming up in about a couple of weeks, and we know that GIZ is a key partner for that global event. So we just want to find out from you why GIZ is supporting this initiative and the impact GIZ hopes to achieve, and how does that fit into the grand GIZ CSR project or initiative for Ghana?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for having me here today. I think for the GIZ it's a very important topic we've been working on for many years, and it fits very well into this year's National Women's Day because we just finalized and published our 2019-21 gender strategy for the company. For the first time, this gender strategy is really cross-cutting in all our activities in our corporate strategy. So it's really integrated part of this corporate strategy, and we do believe strongly in women participation through all different areas, whether it's the corporate at our company or it's the development cooperation as such, the work we have with our partners, or it's peace and security. So being here at the KAIPTC, surely for me personally, it's also very important because it falls into the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, and we do also work in this part with our partner KAIPTC. So at the time it just fall everything together that we had the chance to cooperate with the KAIPTC and with WANEP in this very important event and came together here.
What is the impact that GIZ hopes to achieve with this event?
I think with this event, targeting specifically local communities and schools in local communities, high school students, for us this is the future of Ghana, of the country, but anyway on a global scale, it's the youth we should target because they will run in the future the businesses, the companies, the government, and I think having the chance to raise awareness, sensitize these youth groups in this one-day event will help them to go back into their communities and maybe also talk more freely about gender-based violence, sexual-based violence, which is a topic throughout the world. It's a global problem, and I think it's so important that we sensitize the youth that they speak up on their behalf and are sensitized to address this issue at the early stage. And so this is the impact we hope to achieve, to get champions also in this topic to move it forward and to fight gender-based violence.
So why has the Women, Peace and Security Institute of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center chosen gender-based violence in relation to the theme for International Women's Day 2019?
All right, thank you very much for the question. So the KAIPTC actually launched its new strategic plan for 2019 to 2023. And out of the 6 strategic priorities, the very third strategic priority focuses on the women, peace and security issues on the continent, but to help in implementing the Maputo Protocol, but also the UN Security Council Resolution 1325. And as part of that process, the Women, Peace and Security Institute chose the issue on promoting or working to address the issues of gender-based violence because these are very critical issues that reflect or that actually sits within the framework of the Maputo Protocol, but also of the Security Council Resolution 1325. And in relation to the International Women's Day celebration for 2019, which has a theme for balance for better, which literally means that we all need to have a gendered balance for a better world. This actually has been chosen to actually speak to the issues of gender-based violence, which is been for the past 2 years a global issue of great concern because of the high incidence of gender or sexual assaults or sexual harassment issues in relation to gender-based violence. And the whole idea is to educate and sensitize the youth to be able to advocate and stand against sexual assaults and sexual incidents on our continent, but also more importantly in Ghana.
What is the overall impact expected from this initiative?
Okay, thank you very much. So this initiative is actually focusing on the youth. It's focusing on young girls who are coming to actually get information on issues related to gender-based violence. So generally the impact is to sensitize, or by the end of the program, the youth, especially the young girls, would have been sensitized on and given knowledge on issues related to gender-based violence and how they can be advocates against gender-based violence, but also more importantly, for them to be able to identify where to be able to seek redress should they find themselves as victims, if it so happens, of gender or in gender-based violence. The other impacts that we intend to record is to be able to provide information or booths for the young girls to be able to seek additional knowledge or information on the subject matter, even outside of that particular day on the 8th of March. So obviously, where can they find additional information to be able to be well equipped and well informed about issues of gender-based violence and how to address or combat them? So we are looking forward to a very exciting day. We are looking forward to that by the end of the program, these young girls would have been fully informed, and then they would take advantage of the information and knowledge gained from this process.
You know, we're jointly celebrating the International Women's Day event with KAIPTC celebrating WANEP,
yes,
then together with GIZ. So we just wanted to find out why you think there's a need for advocates in eliminating gender-based violence as part of the general peace-building agenda.
Gender-based violence goes to the core of conflict because it's a violence that begins at home. So it does two things to the community or to mankind. One, it breaks the back of women especially, and then children, and makes women less powerful to challenge whatever powers that may be. It actually heightens the level of the power relations. Two, it actually teaches children to become violent. So children see this gender-based violence from the home setting, from the school setting, from the community setting, and they grow up with this. So it is important that we begin to work seriously on gender-based violence to actually advocate that this is, if not eradicated totally, at least minimized to the extent that our children, our women will be allowed to grow with the confidence that they have and then contribute their quota to national development and the development of the world at large.
You mentioned how it's important for it to be tying it into the International Women's Day theme. What do you think the expected impact would be, as part of the celebrations?
Well, if we are able to advocate for a lot more people to get onto this campaign, to advocate for the eradication of gender-based violence, and get school children and get the youth and get men and women to sing with one voice that we need to stop this kind of violence, then it will begin to yield some results. When I stop being abusive at home, my children will learn from me. When you gain a lot of power because there's no longer gender-based violence. You actually bring out the inner power that you have as a woman and bring that to the fore in development of the world. Yes.
Why do you think there's a need for advocates as part of the initiatives to eliminate gender-based violence, and why is that important?
It is important for the very simple reason that women are very much important within the context of peace and security. And we all have seen it, especially some of us who are from post-conflict countries, the role women played in bringing those conflicts to an end. And their role does not stop in the home, but they have a critical role to play to ensure that community is glued together. They are the custodians of our social fabric, bringing up not only our children, but even caring for the men, providing for the family, and ensuring that the communities are more inclusive and very peaceful. So women are very important, and they are an important factor within the context of peace building. Because when you reach women, you've reached the community, you've reached the world, right? Reach women with this message, give them the message, equip them, and then they will be willingly ready and available to get the message across. So catching those voices young, especially the school pupils, the students, and even the market women that you have catered for in this program is an excellent idea. And I think it's one good way and one way to really go. In my opinion, the theme for this year's celebration, Balance for Better, I think is the loudest and strongest IWD theme I've ever heard of. And it gives women the opportunity to advocate, and it's time for men to realize that indeed women should be placed on a better balance, and women should be given the opportunity to grow, to develop, to be empowered in the society. It's the best way to go. Nothing but the best. Let us balance for the better.
Join the global campaign to balance our world for better.